My name is Billy R. White, D4, the U.S. Navy, and I'm a Vietnam vet. And I was in the military, started in 1965, September 1965, and I got out in August of 1969. Hometown, a place called Wilson, North Carolina. They call it Wide Awake Wilson. Why they call it Wide Awake, I don't know, but it's just Wide Awake Wilson. And I was just there, matter of fact, just left there this past Monday.
Excellent.
Yeah, man, go down there, probably 7, 8, 9 times a year, so it's been, it's still home.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and out of 13 of us, only 2 siblings have died, but it's a great place to grow up. I have no regrets how I grew up in North Carolina. We grew up on a farm, but we had everything. Didn't realize how rich we were until now. You got to buy everything, We had everything. We grew everything and had our own livestock, the cows, the hogs, all this stuff, from geese, ducks, turkeys, hundreds of chickens running around, and had our own pond where you go fishing on, our own pond. We had everything, we raised popcorn and peanut, everything, and then now, like I said, it's to get out of your life, about all of us, we were running from that. Now you got to go buy all this stuff and realize how blessed you were, we had a smokehouse full of meat. I mean, full of meat, everything you could think of. We had people that lived in the city used to come out to our farm, and my father gave them food to eat, vegetables and stuff like that. Just gave them stuff, They're gonna have fruit trees on the farm, peach trees, pear trees, walnut trees, 5 pecan trees, it was just, had it made, I moved from North Carolina and moved up in this area, the Washington, D.C. area. And I had only been here like 1 year. And they was drafting all the young men for the war. The only way you could avoid the war, you had to be married or in college, one or the other. And I wasn't either one, so that put me right on the list. But the good thing about it at the time, they gave you a choice. They gave 30 days. If you go to the Army, Marines, the Air Force, or the Navy. And I chose the Navy because at the time I said, well, I think maybe I get a better chance of seeing the world. So that's why I chose the Navy. Great Lake was my training. I went there, Matter of fact, normal training was, let's say 12 weeks. Because of the Vietnam War, we only got 6 weeks of training. Yeah, they were pushing the sailors through real fast, getting them ready and prepared for the war. It was only 6 weeks we went to in Great Lakes. And that was quite an experience. The first time I ever rode a plane in my life is when I flew to Great Lakes for boot camp. And I remember the plane fell out of the sky 10,000 feet at one time. Hit some air pocket or something, whatever, and imagine, the first time on the plane, all of a sudden the plane just dropped like that. And of course it stopped, and then it was just a very scary moment, But, and I was on a troop transport ship called the USS Pickaway. We were taking 2,000 Marines to Vietnam in favorite instruction and all kind of battles getting ready for Vietnam. It was pretty good. The troop transport ship we carried about 2,500 people, along with the passenger, of course, like I said, 2,000 Marines. But I think the ship staff at the time was about 500. With the sailors and all the officers and chiefs and everything about it, the running the ship, and there was plenty of PT boats to load them in and off, whatever, And that's been the APA, that's the name, this kind of ship it was. And that's mainly the purpose of the ship, to transport troops back and forth, And it was pretty good life, the food was good, I had no complaint. We like to have quite an experience. The people was nice, so it was very good. Like I said, we had 2,000 Marines we were taking to Vietnam, preparing for the war. And so I was being trained as a corpsman. And so as a corpsman, they on a PT boat. They would put the PT boat out in the ocean. And you would they would just suddenly pretend that this person was hurt, and they would tell you what's wrong with the person, whether their limb broken or heart cut, bullet wound or whatever it was, and you had to treat them according to basically what they tell you. And it was just you and one other person, and you put them on a stretcher, and you had to lift that person out of a PT boat, put them in a stretcher, and then you had to carry them up the boat. They had there wasn't a ladder, like a rope ladder, and you had to climb up, one in front, one at the bottom, and carry that person strapped in all the way up 35 feet up in the air and up to a ship in order to get them off. And you had to handle them a certain way according to where the wounds were. And I did that until, like I said, we got ready to go to Vietnam. I got off the ship in the Philippines, and they flew me to Japan, right, and I joined the Seabees. Matter of fact, I was there, when I got to Japan, I wasn't even there a good 30 days, Holly. A lot of Marines I made friends with, I seen them walking through, as I was checking in at the hospital, when you go to do a base, you have to check in. Marines were walking through the hallway, and I asked them what were they doing there. They said they got ambushed the first day, crossing a bridge, and most of them got killed. And he was just a couple of guys that, was left behind, whatever, and it was amazing, that you experience this kind of stuff, So, but then of course, like I said, within 30 days there I was in M16 and Army fatigue, and I thought, wait a minute, I joined the Navy, but I got Army fatigue, I'm going to Vietnam, because that's what the Seabees were, the same thing as in the Army, the Army Corps to the Marine, and fighting gear, And our job was to build the Lake Oil line, right, and mainly build the highways, and that was mainly our mission there at the time. And so there was a lot of civilian around, and matter of fact, I recall during the time I was there on the base, Camp Tenshaw, the name, it got as hot as 132 degrees. And I remember one day taking 7 showers in one day. You could sit under a tree shade and didn't make any difference. Within 30 minutes or so, you were soaking wet. I mean, it was hot. Unbelievable hot there all the time, And so it was quite an experience there. And the civilians that were there, they were real nice, you just Papa sign, Mama sign, whatever, So, but they was very nice, and I had no problem, no kind of running into anybody in the civilian, They know that we were there to try to help them, So the accommodation was pretty good. Even had, I remember on the base there, they had a place for movies and also entertainment. I remember Bob Hope came in while I was there. It was always something in between to try to, keep morale down, making sure that, they know everybody, young men, you miss home, you miss mom, dad, and, your whole family, whatever, So they kept things going on. The nighttime, the time when you could, cool down after all that work. Like I said, they had Bob Hope to come in when I was there, there were other different shows and entertainment, something to try to ease the mind. You know it was war, it was in a war zone. Anything could happen in a time, whatever, but still they did their best to try to keep morale down at the time. So it was set up pretty good. The only downfall I remember there was the water. You couldn't drink the water, all right? And it didn't have enough ice to keep the soda cold, but it kept the beer cold. That was my first time in my life ever drinking any type of alcohol in Vietnam. I had to drink the beer in order to have something cold. Well, a lot of time, depending on, it didn't make a difference where what camp you was at. A lot of time, the enemy was always going to try to take over. Sometimes, they had an event where like the Army, either the Marine Corps one, run up and take this hill, and then that thing, they come back and take it back, and, you experience that kind of stuff back and forth, and so. One of my scariest moments in Vietnam was in, June of 1966, the 12th of June, matter of fact. That's when I was at Camp Tenshaw, the name, and they was trying to overrun the base that night. was shooting and bombing all night long. And I hadn't been there long enough to get ammunition, so I was scared to death. I mean, really needed to say, and then, because every time I asked somebody for ammunition, they were trying to keep it for themselves, to keep their own lives. So I didn't try to decide what I was going to do. If the Viet Cong came against me and I had to fight, or would throw the gun at him, or try to hide and hit him with the gun, or what have you. But it was the most fighting moment of my life. And that particular night, our base, but we were there, they were going to take that base. They were bombing, fighting all night long. It was the scariest moment I can ever remember. I remember them just, I mean, you look out, just flash, light flashing and bombing, it's just everywhere, you know, it was really horrible, you know. I would have thought that particular night I was gone. This is it. And so knowing I didn't have an ammunition to be gone, I'm like, you know, what would I going to do if they overrun the base and I have to fight? You know, the only thing I could do was try to throw the gun or hit them with it. You know, if I could hide or something, you know, but it was very, very frightening. It was quite an experience. But you think about it, how long that's been, 66, you know, over 43 years or so, and I still, I mean, today I can still visualize that. Just never forgotten it, never forgotten that. That particular night, we were shooting at them, they were shooting at us, and you know, this conflict. I don't remember, it was that nighttime, so I don't remember seeing any aircraft coming through at that night, whatever, you know, it was just like we were just on our own. And so somehow we withstood it. They didn't overrun the base, you know. It was just so powerful that they were trying to try to take it, but it didn't happen, you know. We did wake up the next morning, we were still there in our spot, you know. But that was the worst night of all nights. Like I said, the 12th of June, 1966, I'll never forget it. It was just, but that one night, like I said, I thought I was gone, because that's the first night I ever had in my life. Well, you know, like I said, you know, we had a lot of barges there where we was on a lot of work on the airline, you know, like land oil lines, and then we had to build buildings and stuff like that, you know. That's what Seabees do, all kind of construction. And the sad thing about it was, I remember before I left Japan on a mission, when the officer, the deck, told us that we had to go in before the Marines did. And that was frightening. See, my thinking as a young man at the time, I'm thinking, well, okay, fine, we'll Seabee, we'll construct the battalion, but they're going to send the Marines ahead of us, you know, because the Marines were part of the Navy. So they're going to send them in, check out the bushes, the trees, the hills, and that didn't happen. They said, you all going to have to go in before the Marines, because you building the way, the highways, and everything. You the one knocking trees down or going in the weeds, whatever, you know. So you know, half of us had to be on guard while the others working, and that was really frightening too, because in my little young mind, I'm thinking there's gonna be 10,000 Marines going out, making sure it's okay for us to be working over here, working over there, whatever, you know. But it just wasn't. That's not where it was.